1 in 3 practicing lawyers today are functioning alcoholics or problem drinkers. Based on the volume and frequency of alcohol consumed, 28% suffer depression and 19% suffer from anxiety, according to a study that was completed by the National Bar Association. Today I'm going to talk to you about the importance of knowing the hazards of your workplace and how to carefully consider the positive aspects as well as the negative before deciding to pursue a career path. According to the National Institute of Alcohol Abuse and Alcoholism, lawyers working in the law firms have the highest rate of alcohol abuse. It is essential that citizens are aware of this very real issue in our society today and know how to prepare for it beforehand. It has also been found that many times over that stress associated with the law field often leads to unhealthy coping mechanisms, such as drinking, which is highly normalized in our society today and in law firms. Many of you may have parents, friends, siblings, or family members that considered becoming lawyers, and you deserve to have the knowledge to combat this mental illness that is steadily growing in the law field today. Over the years, I've had many family friends go into the workforce, and a few of them went into the law field. And I had the opportunity to interview them and get interviews from these people that have firsthand experience in the law field and understand the challenges that can be found there. Many students just out of law school are dealing with substantial debt, which adds to stress, a heavy workload, which also adds to more stress, and extremely long work hours and pressures from their peers and other coworkers to succeed. Altogether, this is very challenging for anyone to manage, let alone students right out of law school. This is both unmanageable and unrealistic to maintain for long periods of time. Eventually, a high-stress workplace like that has been seen in many law firms, it wears down on people, and they begin to seek ways to cope under the bombarding pressures that are constantly attacking them. Many choose alcohol as an escape because it's both easy to obtain and it's severely normalized in the law field. The demands thrown at firm employees can be staggering and have been seen to drive employees to frequent drinking and have been seen to cause the major depression and anxiety that is seen today. First, I will discuss how the culture found in law firms encourages social drinking, and then next I'm going to talk about how the law field attacks employees' mental health through their work. Lastly, I'll explain how long exposure to high-stress situations, specifically in the law field, can be detrimental to employees' health. So how do law firms encourage social drinking? Many law firms have alcohol offered at many different periods of time, and they normalize alcohol dependency among their coworkers, which adds even more to this issue. As a lawyer, you're not only required to do your normal paperwork and stuff, you're also required to attend various conferences and meetings all over the country and sometimes the world. And at each of these events, alcohol is generally served in very large amounts, and consequently, employees have been known to become severely intoxicated while at these meetings. Link Christian, an attorney who is in charge of an addiction recovery program for legal professionals, even said, when you have these events, they essentially put a seal of approval on drinking. There's a sort of expectation that you're going to be drinking. Many employees see drinking as a reward from the law firms for all the time and effort that they put into their time-consuming job. Many feel that they deserve a break and that this is a way to escape their stress that they feel. They also feel that since they give up so much personal time outside of work, as well as aspects of life, that this is their one escape. It has been found that even in law school and in summer programs for law students that are hosted by law firms, that there includes a lot of social drinking. Patrick Krill, a lawyer who runs another substance abuse treatment program for legal professionals, such as judges and lawyers, stated, any way you look at it, this data is very alarming and paints a picture of an unsustainable professional culture that's harming too many people. Now, not only does the complex issue of alcohol abuse lie with the law firms, but it also lies with the inherent nature of the work that is done by law firms. The high stress, long work hours, and the extreme need to succeed is not a sustainable position for many people and can negatively affect their physical and mental health. Lawyers, young and old, are suffering from the strenuous tasks asked of them in their workplace. Many lawyers are required to complete large amounts of mind-numbing work in short periods of time, and many times need overtime to complete it. As I mentioned before, these time-sensitive assignments tend to take over employees' lives and start to bleed into their personal lives as well. It forces them to give up many aspects of their personal lives for this career. In addition to this, there's always the pressure put on employees by the law firm to generate business and to overall succeed without failing. This can prove very stressful and in the constantly changing world of law, and can be a major contributing factor in lawyers becoming addicted to alcohol. In a culture expecting perfection without mistakes, anyone would feel inadequate and struggle to fulfill their role. These often unrealistic expectations are forced upon employees, mainly in private firms, and where lawyers have been said to sell their soul to climb up the social ladder and receive slightly better treatment and respect. On the flip side, many lawyers employed by the government while paid less receive substantially less stress than their private firm counterparts. So now we know some of the harmful practices that contribute to lawyers' stress, anxiety, and overall unhappiness. Long exposure to high-stress situations, specifically in the law field, can be detrimental to employees' mental health. And in a study completed by Johns Hopkins in 1990, it was found that lawyers were 3.6 times more likely than the average person to suffer from depression. This can be directly related to their long work hours, debilitating student debt from law school, and a harsh work environment that often has unrealistic expectations for employees. Unfortunately, the negative effects of the legal workplace do not end there. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, discovered that lawyers have some of the highest suicide rates as well as drug and alcohol abuse. Study after study has been compiled and completed supporting the findings that work hazards found in the legal workplaces are severe and can result in very debilitating mental illnesses such as alcoholism, depression, and anxiety, and can ultimately end with death. It is important to be aware of these struggles and that this field is having, and be on the lookout for signs in our own peers that may decide to join the legal world. To conclude, I've informed you of the dangerous aspects of joining the stress-fueled industry of the law field, including how law firms encourage social drinking in the workplace and how the work environment contributes to this prevalent illness of alcoholism, as well as the overall negative effects of all of these factors. This is a serious issue that cannot be overlooked any longer. The law field is growing exponentially, which in turn means that more lawyers are going to be exposed to these harsh work conditions. They deserve to know how the environment is going to be before they join. 1/3 of lawyers have been said to be alcohol dependent. What if your friends and family members became part of that statistic? Are you going to let your friends and family members become part of that 1/3? Or are you going to make sure that the knowledge that you've learned today also is shared with them so that they are aware of what is going on in this field before they join it?